Millennials get a bad rap as non-committal, sometimes lazy, avocado toast eating, adult kids. But more and more young people are taking on some extra new responsibilities. Their little ones are young and growing and green. The Washington Post put it this way. Look at this headline. Millennials are filling their homes and the void in their hearts with houseplants. So in this story, we meet 37-year-old Hilton Carter. Here's a quote from this. Carter, who is 6'5", bearded and the sort of man who wears a denim shirt and a ball cap with his peach shorts, begins a 4-hour grooming ritual. There are 180 plants here. That's in one apartment. This means that every Sunday there are yellowed leaves to pluck away and toss, bugs to keep an eye out for, the great existential mysteries of light and air and sun to consider. But that's nothing to sneeze at. Carter is in good company. This new obsession with greenery is spreading across the nation. The Omaha TV station KMTV ran a story called Plants, a Growing Trend Among Omaha Millennials.
Felicity Duvall and her boyfriend, Todd Dillon, have slowly grown into self-proclaimed plant people. Now, throughout their home,
this is my favorite part of the bathroom.
Every corner.
We have a couple in the bedroom, too, if you want to look at those.
Is full of plants.
And then we propagate all through here.
Tons of people are getting inspired by pages like this one here. It's called Urban Jungle. On Instagram, it has more than 500,000 followers. Every plant you can imagine in the best lighting known to man. They have great filters, too. Many of those pots are stuffed with what's called succulents, the desert plants that need very little water or supervision. With some sunlight and the right container, they're pretty much set. Up in Minneapolis, not exactly a desert, they did a whole succulent and terrarium segment on the local show. Turns out this hot new trend is super retro.
I love terrariums. I think they're so cool.
Yes, the 70s are back, aren't they?
They are back, big time. What was this? Like just
this was
on
an
the
old
wall?
sconce.
Old
sitting
sconce.
on the wall.
Where'd you find it?
This was I found at a garage sale. Yeah. You know, you can find these anywhere, or if you have an old 1980s house in the suburbs somewhere, this was probably hanging in your foyer.
Probably in your house still.
That WAPO article I told you about a little bit earlier took a stab at figuring out just why terrariums are so popular with young people now. Some experts had a theory, and it goes back 4 decades. Quote, in the 1970s, there was Watergate and war and turmoil in the Middle East, and housewives hung ivies, pothos, and devil's backbone from their macrame plant hangers. I think the current cycle has a lot to do with people hunkering down. A houseplant is therapeutic. It gives you something to nurture. There are other factors, of course, as with almost everything else these days. Instagram. Yes, Instagram matters. Here in D.C., I met a woman named Holley Simmons who left a high-profile job writing for a national newspaper to follow her dream of owning a business. Her craft? Terrariums. She connected with the older generation who's been working on these plants since the 1970s in the local area. She learned the trade, and now she teaches others. Today, Simmons has a highly successful business at just 32 years old, doing exactly what she loves. I went out to her shop along with our videographer, Megan Smith, to get a little lesson in terrarium making and hear more about her big leap in her life. Oh, and we met her friends, Bob and Donna, at the Succulent Society.
They have the reputation of being very resilient, and I think that's very appealing to a lot of people, particularly in DC, in small places. Maybe they don't have a garden, maybe they're intimidated to bring in a big plant. It's just kind of a nice, easy way to add some greenery to your house. I was at the Washington Post Express, the free one that you hold over your head when it's raining out, and I was doing local fashion, interior design, and that also played in with what I was doing at work. After about 2 or 3 years, I saw the growth in it, no pun intended. I saw potential for it to be a full-time business, but I found that my mind would often be wanting to be here and creating something. I was trying to do everything. I had the full-time job, and then I would come here and I would wake up at 5 and go to the wholesaler, pick up moss, and then go to work. And I just realized everything is kind of suffering here. I need to just focus on one. Writing will always be there. I can always open up my laptop, but I felt something was about to catch with these, so I just kind of threw myself into it.
These ones we've selected today are ones that need some air, need some space and
Yes.
light, and they're going in this container, which is open up top.
Exactly. With the succulents, we want to work with a container that has an opening, because as I've said, that they don't need a lot of water, so we don't want something with a lid. The first step I like to add are rocks. It just creates a place for excess water to pool. Bump it up against the glass. And I do keep a little fold here.
When you're doing these layers and you see them in the store or
Yes.
in Element Collective,
Yes.
it's actually to mimic the desert?
Yeah, so being desert plants, they kind of struggle in DC. DC is a little cold in the winter, it's a little humid in the summer, it's too wet and sticky. So essentially every single item we put into the terrarium serves a purpose. Every layer is designed to protect our roots. So this soil, this is made specifically for cacti and succulents. So it's designed to be
rough.
Yeah, it's rough and it's porous.
There's a succulent society.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
With these people who care a lot about succulents.
Absolutely.
Cacti. And you have to be brought into someone's good graces before you can get their soil recipe.
Yes. So I am a member of the society, the National Cactus and Succulent Society of the United States. And I'd been going for a few months before I felt comfortable enough to ask my friend Donna in class or in club if she would share her soil recipe with me. And she was so kind, and she did. She wrote me down the formula.
Oh, I've been doing it for maybe 30, 40 years, and I enjoy it so much because there's such an infinite variety.
What the program is about, it's about uses.
You know, I think it's sharing an experience. You have things that happen in the plants that you have at home. They flower or they grow more and they look different, or forbid us that they die, but things go wrong and things go right, and then you wonder if other people are having the same situation. So being in a room with 30 other people that have the same interest that you do, who grow the same kind of plants, who experience the same ups and downs, is just wonderful.
I love the people at this society because
Yes.
this is a passion of theirs for so long.
Yeah.
And they're now passing it along to the next generations that think it's new because it showed up at Urban Outfitters, but
Right.
it's not.
Oh, these have been, I mean, these have existed long before Urban Outfitters. I am completely on board with responsible recklessness. I didn't just quit and jump. You know, I've seen the potential here. I've always been entrepreneurial. I didn't know exactly which direction it would take me, but I'm happy that it ended up here, yeah.